Meeting to order here at 7:03. Any public comment today? All right, no public comment. Flying through here. Let's see. So we are looking at approval of the October minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at the October minutes? Any additions or corrections? No additions or corrections? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Perfect. We've motioned in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Wonderful. Minutes are passed. Moving on to the financial report. Any big news on the financial report that anybody saw or had questions about this month? Anything you wanted to draw our attention to in the financial report? Perfect. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
I can make that motion.
A motion? We have a second?
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Financial report passes. All right, on to committee reports. So we got Spooky Hollow recap, Sally.
Yeah, we were so happy with how everything went. We were so pleased. The weather cooperated. We had an excellent turnout. You guys were obviously there and really working hard, and I know you came with your family and were able to kind of get a lay of the land. We had plenty of help, which was great too. Lots of good volunteer turnout.
We had over 60 student
I want to say
volunteers.
there's that many. Yeah, we had a lot of. It was great. It was a great turnout. They were really happy. Everyone had a great time. The activities were fantastic. We had so much for the kids to do. We met to debrief afterwards, and we definitely did come up with several things that we wanted to kind of tweak for next year. So we're open to more feedback, as well. But it was nothing like major. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we have to totally scrap this, or we have to, It was like a lot of like, we can modify this, that, or the other. But overall, we were super happy with it. Thank you so much, for all of your help. And yeah, it went well. I don't know if do you guys have anything to add? Would you?
No.
It kind of feels like it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
It's like we immediately jumped into lighting the green, so I'm just like, yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, that's my recap.
Thank you so much. So lighting of the green, so that's for me. So we're coming up in the home stretch. That's on the 7th with the rain date of the 8th. We have the marketplace lined up with 10 vendors again this year. We have the DJ, we have Santa Claus, we have our crafts. One of the main concerns right now is with the drought conditions. So we have been in contact with Chief Holmes, potentially about needing to scrap the open fire, but potentially we could pivot and have charcoal grill instead, or something of the like more contained fire overall. So we're waiting to see how much more rain falls, and we'll defer to them to see.
Did he say we could have charcoal or a propane grill?
He said it was an or, so the drought restrictions from the email I remember, and I might be mistaken, I don't know if you guys were on that email as well.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was
I thought it was propane.
propane or charcoal, but it was like personal cooking devices, so like we couldn't,
Yeah, that's what
my guess is like you couldn't have just like a fire pit type
Yeah.
thing. It'd be more like, it'd have to be like a kettle grill or like a PK grill, something that's going to be like off the ground, something meant for cooking rather than open fire. But hopefully we'll get better clarification a little bit sooner. We are looking for volunteers. I haven't looked at the sign up Genius. If you got any more
One more
Boy
today.
Scouts.
we don't have very many Boy Scouts, but I am thinking about making like a small sign-up genius to send out to some of the a couple of the high school groups, which I think we'll get them.
So we did see you said there's a conflict that day. Is that the holiday market?
Boy Scouts have they have a couple other events that day.
Mm-hmm.
They're selling Christmas trees that day, and in the morning they participate in the holiday shop over at Wyomissing Elementary. They have their own fundraiser, but that is in the morning, so it's not like a direct conflict. It's just
how much in a day.
Yeah, how much.
I was a little surprised that because last year they had so many Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I know, and they actually the Scoutmaster just sent out an email to the whole troop reminding them. So I'm hoping like
Did they use Sign Up Genius last year for the same process of getting volunteers?
So
Or did they
you
just,
tell me, because I didn't do a sign of genius.
we didn't. I don't know how they got their people.
They did. They set up their own sign of genius.
Oh,
And
okay.
right, they got a lot of volunteers. It might just be that it's just not soon enough to the event. Like it's a lot with scouts that it's going to be going more to the parents. The parents are going to be signing up. It's not so much the kids that are going to be signing up versus at the high school.
Okay.
The kids.
Well, I
will be-
still, like I wrote in the last note, I still think we need to reach out to the high school
Yeah.
because we've got hayride,
Yeah.
ornament decorating.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to volunteer that day, we're not in scramble mode yet, but you still have choice of events. If you wanna put on your holiday best and come out for
Yeah.
lighting of the greens.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
a lot of high school volunteers this year,
Mhm.
but they also do holiday shop as well. So,
I'm not sure if the holiday shop was the same day last year. I actually just got notification today from Spring Ridge that our holiday shop is that same morning as well.
yeah.
So it's a popular day.
Okay.
So I'm glad that we're on the calendar first.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about getting volunteers. I mean, especially compared to what we had to recruit for Spooky Hollow. And I had so many kids from Spooky Hollow say, I'd love this. I'd love to." So I'm not worried about it. We just have to get it out. Right?
The only other back of mind concern, just again with the rain, with everything that happened over there, if it rains, it's going to be great for fire, but it's not going to be great for all the grass seed that has not yet sprouted yet. So we're trying to figure out how to walk that fine
I
line.
met with Greg today to talk about it. I don't know if you guys have been over there, but the parks guys, nobody's really been able to do anything over there. They've got the silk socks up to prevent runoff and things like that. So there are leaves everywhere over there. They're cleaned the pond, I think. They're sweeping it tomorrow and filling it either Thursday or Friday.
We just leave it empty in case we need to move into the pond for the event.
They have their work cut out for them to clean up the area
Oh, yeah.
because it's a mess with the leaves, and once they blow them, sweep them, it's gonna be dirt because if no rain, none of that grass seed is taken. So it could potentially be a mess if we get a lot of rain.
So not a lot we can do. We're just along for the
Yeah.
ride with the weather at the moment.
Yeah.
I remember last year there being the issue with the propane, like leaking.
Yes.
So are we using a different,
No,
like,
same
company?
person, but we have a contact person in case. If we cancel, because if you remember, we didn't use the heaters last year at all, once that happened, because it was unseasonably warm, I can cancel all the way up to Thursday and not get charged for it.
And in the post from the vendor, they thought it was a combination of them trying to make sure we weren't going to run out of propane, so potentially filling the tanks, and then the temperature change was one of the factors
The
in
gas expanded.
in the gas.
Right, but I feel like that's kind of, like, that's a little,
But we have it
my,
covered.
in
That's
my
what-
back,
we have
yeah,
a- we have-
I mean, I feel like that's kind of an egregious mistake if you're a propane supplier, so that's just my opinion, so, but you have a contact this time.
Yeah.
And we don't anticipate that happening again, it's just
Yeah,
a
we
little
don't,
concerning.
yeah, that was our big takeaway from it last year, again, having more of a immediate contact person, so that was something that we definitely went into the contract this year, needing to have that person overall, so.
And also, like, reminding them of the fiasco last year, that was a mess.
Well, they gave us a huge discount last year
But-
too because of that.
I mean, like, but it was a huge, cause we were like we literally like had to leave for like, I remember I went home and then had to come back because there was like fumes everywhere, cause everyone had like. it was
You
really bad.
overreacted.
No, I had a headache from it, I'm very sad, like, I was in that tent. It was bad, Kristen, you were there with me, it was
Yeah.
very bad in that tent. Do we have, and I'm not on the thing, but do we have the lighting too in the tent this year? Cause I
Mhm.
remember that was and we moved it, you guys moved it earlier too, right? So
Starts
that,
at 2:00
you started at 2,
and we have lights in the tents.
and we have lights in the tents, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for all the reminders. Anything else for lighting of the greens that we didn't cover? Here we're getting some award-winning chili again.
Aha, yes, yes, my chili will be there.
You guys will have the chili cook-off.
Yeah, Kristen kicked butt. Well, she
I don't know how.
kicked our butts.
She kicked our butts. That's why I stepped down from the chili committee.
So be on the lookout, and I don't think we have any specific rec board volunteer positions like we did for 4th of July before, but again, if you have anything that you really want to volunteer for, or you really, really strongly want to do, let us know, and we'll make sure that high school kids don't take it for you.
Sally got confirmation from Jess that she's going to oversee the activity section, and John said that he wanted to oversee the fire pit area,
Oh,
her
wonderful.
husband. So that still leaves the hayride, that's the main one, was somebody to do the hay race, cause you have marketplace, you have
And then, entertainment.
entertainment,
Yeah,
and Pamela has concessions. Yeah,
we
so,
could put Gianna in that spot if you felt okay with that,
Okay.
but let's see.
yeah, we can talk
discuss.
about that at our next meeting too.
Are we having a committee meeting before?
We probably should.
Okay, we'll get something on the calendar.
Okay.
Did you send an email out about that? I don't know that I saw anything like looking for volunteers or saying what the jobs were. Or like
Or is there a
asking
description of
when
it?
or like times or anything like
For
that.
lighting of the greens?
Yeah.
We did not yet. No,
Okay.
I don't think we sent
I
out that
can.
sign up genius to us.
No, I don't even need a sign up
Mhm.
genius, just
more
usually it's like
description.
just saying like what
Mhm.
or when, just,
I mean, we have it, we have a worksheet that details all the jobs.
I don't even need, yeah, just if you wanna say like,
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe Kristen could oversee a ride if.
oh, no, I don't wanna do the
Oh.
hayride. Definitely no hayride for me, but if you wanna let me know like
Yeah.
where you need help,
Okay.
I can probably help with something. But I didn't know, I thought maybe I missed it, if you were
Yeah.
looking for people, cause I didn't
Okay.
see it.
I think we were trying to get the Boy Scouts finished and then fill in from there, but
Fill
I
in
think we
from
need to,
there.
now we're at
Okay.
the point we need to do everything.
I can help with that.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. So I think that's all for the lighting of the green committee at the moment. So that's on to potentially committee assignments for next year.
With us not having a meeting in December, I wanted to try to assign people or look for volunteers who wanted to be the chairs. I know Mike and Kate are still on the pool committee, Kristen's on the playground committee, so I have Egg Hunt, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Spooky Hollow, Lighting of the Greens, and Earth Day. And I figured you would wanna do Earth Day,
Yeah.
okay?
And I would like to be on the pool committee and lighting of the greens committee.
Yeah, you'll be, I mean,
Oh, you're
all I'm
also
trying to do
doing
is get the
chairs.
chairs,
Gotcha.
and then we'll do
So
that.
Mike and, are Mike and Kate like
Co-chairs,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Rick, Lighting of the Greens, keep you there?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that leaves Egg Hunt, we don't really need somebody, but 4th of July is the big one, and Memorial Day. So,
Well, I know in
Okay.
the past we talked about having like all hands on deck for 4th of July, like kind of like, I
For
don't,
Memorial Day.
oh, sorry, no, 4th of July, like I
Oh.
thought we had like years ago, didn't we say like
Yeah, it was a
everybody had to be?
requirement.
We
Yes.
didn't have like a chairperson, but just like everybody had to be on that committee, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I thought that was,
That's what we do.
I didn't think that went away.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I go back to like I don't think there should be a rec board member as the chair of 4th of July. I think it should be an all hands on deck. Like we all help with the setup. We all help. with
yeah, I totally agree, but I think you still need somebody to be that person to round the cattle up.
I mean, I'd be willing to be
Yeah.
the chair for 4th of July as well.
Okay,
And then we'll all back you up, right?
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
would
not
say,
saying
like-
don't, everybody's not helping, but there should be a
Yeah.
chair for the
Right,
committee.
and I mean, I would agree, like even like the meetings ahead of time, everybody should
Yeah.
attend. But,
Okay, well, we're still missing Kareem and Kate, maybe they wanna do one of the other two, but this is a good
I'll
start.
take the egg hunt. Do you have a date for that yet?
Um,
By any chance?
4/12.
4/12, okay. Can I have a co-chair who's not on the rec board?
Yeah,
Is that allowed?
I don't think there's any guidelines says they can't be, I know we have,
I mean, you can definitely have at least committee members,
Yeah.
at
Well,
the very worst committee members.
okay.
Yeah, I can do the egg hunt again.
you're not really feeling us as like,
Oh, no. No, I just, no, I was just curious. I had a girlfriend who was talking to me about it today at the playground, but she does not have an interest in joining the rec board, but would very much like to help.
Okay, well, this is a great, I only
Yeah.
have open, it's Memorial Day, and so that'll be easy. This is a lot better than,
Welcome to help, especially if we don't wanna get on the rec board, we can appreciate that that's a tall ask for people, but something that they're really passionate about, we'd love to have them involved.
I don't know if this is the right time to ask about this, but you're looking for more rec board?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that, gotcha.
So it just leaves Memorial Day at the moment without a chair, correct?
yeah,
We'll think about it and we'll ask the folks who aren't here as well. So we'll just leave that one open for the moment.
Good.
That's the end of the committee reports. So Randy, on to you. What other director report items
Director
haven't
report,
we
the
hit yet?
financials, we'll start with that. The facilities rentals, if you remember, the Stonehouse is still technically closed. Today, Greg and Jim talked about, they have a handrail to put up coming down the steps, not the pathway, but the steps that were put in. They still need to put a handrail up. So Jim called, is it CMS, Michelle? I think it's
Yeah.
CMS.
Master Service.
Yes.
So Jim called them to get that set up before lighting of the greens. But the idea is to open the Stonehouse for rentals after that, and I think we have 2 already booked for the Stonehouse. Last month we had $1,000 in revenue generated from between Happy Hollow and the Hills. The fundraising campaign, this update since then is there's been 300 letters that were sent out as of yesterday. And there's a big increase in the number of people I sent it out to. I met with Greg and Jim both to get vendors that we work with. CMS is a perfect example, WexCon, people that do business for the borough on construction and maintenance, that are big partners of ours that I sent letter to that I didn't send letters to last year. I met with Rick upstairs before we came down. The idea was to get the letters out pre-holiday and then use January as a hard month to push people with phone calls and face-to-face meetings to try to get sponsorships and more money. So, events, Fall Rock Walk Series concluded this past Sunday. Overall, it was a great turnout. The QR codes were unbelievable. Based on the success of those, we're going to post those on social media with links so that people can still, that maybe didn't go to it, they can still read about the history. People were amazed at when you talk to them about some of the stuff. Like the research was great for me to do, and personally, now I'm my own tour guide, but I think one of the improvements for next year is to do, instead of self-guided, maybe we have somebody that does a guided tour, and we do it at 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock or something that walks people through, because as much as people love reading it on their phones, it's tough to walk through the park and you're holding your phone out, next thing you know you step in a pothole or whatever. So the idea next year to improve that program is look for somebody to give the tour.
That's a good idea. You also, because then you also like are going with a group of people and you get to
Yeah,
interact
yeah.
with the other people,
Yep.
not just whoever you're coming with, or if you're by yourself.
I love that idea.
That's a good.
I think one of the big things to work with Park and Shade about is coming up with either a permanent or semi-permanent signage at those locations. Once the whole Flora Teeter thing is done, is maybe figure out how do we sign some of these things that people can read it all the time when they come walking up to them.
So Randy, one of the things that was kept in the budget for next year is some, like almost like chalkboard signs that we can change the message out. I mean, the idea was to put them around the parklands as we start working on invasives and, tackling some of the lower hanging fruit from the master plan study, to put messages on there explaining like, this is why this looks this way, or this is what the purpose of this project is, but I don't see why we couldn't temporarily use those for the fall walk.
Yeah, those.
At least till we get something more permanent up.
That would be great. I think long term is something permanent, semi-permanent, but short term, like I said, the QR codes were great, but if we had either guided tours or something, temporary signage like that with the information on it would be great. So that would be awesome. Spooky Hollow was awesome, just like you said. I think the most important thing, that my biggest takeaway was, if you remember last year, the biggest shortcoming was we wanted more volunteers. And for us to get 60 kids from the high school to come out and help, to me was unbelievable.
Good job, Sally.
That was the best takeaway. So nice job and the support everybody gave between the parks guys, building and grounds. Everybody was unbelievable with their support. So, house booing was a lot of fun. You guys weren't at the council meeting, but I updated them last week. Everybody loved these contests. And to get a knock on your door, this lady started crying when I gave her bag. Last year she didn't win, so her goal was to win this year. When I knocked on the door, she answered it, and her kids all came running out. She started crying, and it was her birthday. And so she said that her goal was to win this year, that she wanted to be able to tell all her neighbors that she won. So that was the best bag that I gave out. So-
I do think there was an uptick in decoration this year. I think there was more houses that were decorated.
Yeah,
So I think the contests do have that effect.
The
like-
main one, the ones who always do it are always there, but I saw more smaller
Exactly.
type of things that were still cool looking.
Yeah.
So, and people always ask, can you put out a list of all the addresses, which I think is neat. So, people love this house decorating stuff, which kind of leads right into Twinklepalooza. Sent the press release out today, and people are already decorating. I've already got 3 people who signed up, and it's your typical 3 that always do, but it's still 3 people who've signed up. So,
You're sort of absorbing the Hills contest in
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that.
as I
That's a separate contest for house decorating?
Well,
They did last year.
We've always had one,
Oh, okay.
and then it sort of was like, it was sort of repetitive, so we decided to just
I think 4 people went out of the hills.
last year at
Uh,
our
For spooky or for the
in
haunted.
the Halloween
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Oh yeah, we haven't had a
Houses
Halloween
always
one. Yeah, no,
crazy.
we only have a Christmas one.
Oh,
So,
Hmm.
with the Twinklepalooza, if anybody has any ideas how to get gift cards, I'll go get the bags for all that stuff. But anything we can get to put in the gift bag, so we'll be looking for 10 things for the winners.
Randy, just one thing, the fall walk series, I just had one thought about that. So you had a historical focus, is that
Mhm.
correct? Like this year, the QR codes. So another idea would be like, you could have a science perspective too. Like you could have someone walk like around and identifying.
The library they walk along the creek and they do something very similar to that. Because I was worried there was going to be crossover or we were going to step on each other's toes. So I met with them to find out exactly what they were doing. And theirs was more scientific and learning, environmental type stuff
Oh,
versus history.
is that like a one-time thing or is that like
I
an
think
annual thing?
I think
they
it's
do?
an annual thing they do in
Do
the
you know
fall.
In the fall?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So for Twinklepalooza, you're looking for 10 total gift
Mhm.
cards? Okay.
And anything else we can put in the bags. So,
10 prizes.
Yeah. and I don't think it has to be, like, people love getting the B2 $50 gift cards. I mean, that was a great prize to get, and they were all shocked about it, so. Holiday Lights Fun Runs, they start on the 4th at Berkshire Heights. That's the ugly sweater one. Last year, I think was it your church that came out and served hot
that was the
cider?
place, the church that.
That took
just-
over your
Yep, they
place.
just took over our building, yep.
Do you have a contact there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you reach out to them and see if they're interested in coming back out? I mean, they were great. They had so many people participate in it as well. But the first one was on the 4th. December 11th is at the Hills. I need to reach out to Kelsey and see if they want to do hot or cider and cookies like they did last year. And then the last one is on the 18th. Our big partner there is Fleet Feet, West Reading. Jason comes out and kind of leads the entire thing as a celebrity, and he gives prizes to the people who participate in all 3 events. So he's a great partner.
What is this? So the first one is ugly sweater. Is there a theme for picnic?
Onesies on December 11th, and the 18th is holiday PJs.
Okay.
And it's shocking how many people dress up for them.
It's, yeah, you can just wear red and green too.
But I think the key is, like Melissa told me last year, is promote the walking part of it as well, because a lot of people were intimidated that they didn't want to run at an event like this, and so they just walked the 1.5 miles. So
We had a little issue, remember the last one? Last year, we had some weird issue where like there was one post that went out saying that we were meeting at the Stonehouse, and then like half of the group went. That was very bizarre.
I
but-
think the rec guy said the Stonehouse, and the post said the high school.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
So now this year, everything that's been corrected at least, and everything I've put out so far has said the high school. Lighting of the Greens, Rick went through December 7th with a rain date of the 8th. From a programming standpoint, I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago, I did a job, or the high school does their career day, and one of the parts of it, I had a morning session and an afternoon session was a career day, where different businesses set up in the gym, and so I had a table and got to see a ton of the kids who participated last year in the pool and the playground, but also a lot of new kids came up. And so what I told everybody was, hey, we want to get started in January, is we really want to start this process. I don't know if you guys realized it, but last year, kids take forever to get anything done. So the onboarding, finishing all their paperwork and ready to work, really put a lot of stress on Kathy and their ability to actually start working in time to start the programs. So we're going to start everything in January this year. I'm meeting with Chris George tomorrow from the pool. He has some ideas for recruiting more lifeguards, and I know we talked about, was it Berks Catholic doing a career day hiring event or something like that there. And I'm sure, I had a meeting with Frank at the high school, just a big picture meeting with Frank, the athletic director, and he wants us to get more involved with the high school, and he's open to help any way we can, so I'm sure he'll let us do the same thing, set up a table or a classroom and have meetings in it if we wanted to do
Yeah, I
that.
figured it would be easier to set it up there than it would be at Berks Catholic, just because we have more of a rapport.
Yeah.
When you talked to Frank, did you guys happen to talk about like bringing back the student liaison?
We kind of did, but I've talked to Rick about it upstairs,
Okay.
and that's a program I want to get started in January, February. And I have an idea of who I want to head up that committee, the student advisory committee.
Okay.
And her name starts with a G. The girl from Spooky Hollow.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's actually a Wilson kid. Last week.
Wow.
She
That's
just
like a
recently
cuss word.
transferred to Wilson.
Oh.
As long as she lives in the Heights, we can bring them all together.
I mean, she lives, I don't know, she has a Wyomissing address, she
Huh.
transferred, so I don't know, we can revisit that.
Yeah. Okay. That's it on the pool and the playground. The rec guide, I'm writing it and updating it now to get it ready to ship. I think the date I have is 1/15.
Are we gonna have the astronomy club dates for the rec
I
guide?
have those already. Elon and I had talked about it, and he gave me the 4 moon rising dates.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a full moon the last one.
Yeah, if there would be a way, I'm not sure if it's too late to change it, if we can change times or talk with them about it. We had so many people try to show up just with the disparity in the time,
6:30.
try to show up earlier. Well, one post said 5 and one post said 6:30.
Oh yeah, I thought it got changed to 5 because in the rec guide it was 6:30 and I had that on my calendar. But
It
then
did.
the post said 5.
Right.
So I was like, oh, it's earlier, and we almost went at 5. But we're like, it's not gonna be seeing at 5.
So at 5 o'clock, we actually had, in total, there were about 40 people in total that showed up to the event, and by the time 6:30 rolled around, it was clouded over. They ended up not putting out any of the telescopes. But if there's a way that they could move one earlier, if there's going to be something like there was just this past week,
Yeah.
where you're going to have a full moon that you can see still when
Well,
it's
he
bright
tries to, I
outside.
forgot what the celestial word is, but he picks the dates based on something to do with the planets.
Okay.
And so he kind of runs that side of it.
Okay.
There was some confusion. Rick and I talked yesterday about it. Originally, the rec guide had it at 6:30, and he said something about it. The best view of Mars was going to be at 5 o'clock, and so I took that as he was going to be there and ready to go at 5 o'clock. And so
Gotcha.
that's where the confusion fell
Yeah.
in. So I probably dropped the ball on that.
Gotcha.
But the idea is to get the rec guide written and mailed out between the 15th and the 30th of January.
Will we get to see that before it's mailed out? To check it? Do you, like,
I
I don't
think
remember.
we normally get a proof of the rec guide. I don't think
Well,
that's-
Yeah, because I think I'm bringing that up because I feel like I don't know, like, if it would be helpful, like I would read it and look for, like I would look through it for you if you wanted that
Okay.
help.
Okay.
So just throw it out there.
Yeah, I usually have, like Melissa usually reads it. The front desk person, Allison, this year would probably read it, and yeah, you're more than welcome to. more eyes look at it, the less chance of typos. 'Cause
That's
proofreading
kind of,
is
it's
not my
not
thing.
fun if you have typos, cause then it like, cause people refer back to it the whole year, you know?
Well, the dates are gonna fluctuate, and it says that, I think at the beginning of the book, is, you know, these are start dates, but look to social media for updates on dates and times.
Right, if there's a change or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
But you're writing a book in December, a year in advance, and sometimes things happen.
Yeah,
Does it say that in like a really big font?
I'm not sure.
You need to like highlight that. I don't
Yeah.
remember ever
Or say
saying
it
that.
repetitively.
So I'm wondering if that should be like really emphasized.
Yeah.
So people know it's not set in stone. I don't know, maybe people take it, I don't know.
I do put, like, when I get that, I enter all the dates in my calendar, like, I do, I make it, I put it right in my
I shove it
Google
into
calendar.
our because TJ knows we keep it.
Do you have a, is there a space for a QR code to make you launch the Facebook page?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
The
That's
rec
an
guy?
excellent idea.
Mhm.
So you can, like, if that be your page, like time, subject to change, please use this,
Yes.
boom, QR code takes
That's
you
a good
to
idea.
Yeah,
the
also,
page.
that brings me up to, is there something not Facebook where everything is? Like, is there like, do we have, like, I know the Borough website,
Borough
So-
website and Wyomissing Rec.
so Wyomissing Rec, people can only access that if they have an account, is that correct?
Yeah.
Can they,
I think
can
you
you,
can see
you can see the
some of
calendar
it.
without a membership?
I think you can see some of it. I don't
You
know if you
can see
rest.
everything, but actually like going into
Engaged.
reserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are all the things that are in the rec guide also on Wyomissing Rec?
Yes.
So like that same description of pool membership and these are the costs and
Yeah.
that will be in, and everybody can see Wyomissing Rec. So even if they don't have a Facebook account, I guess that's what I'm suggesting, like, so even if
It is,
someone,
that's-
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, yeah.
Ha-
Put up.
but if there's an update, is it only put on Facebook? You email it out to, through
Emails.
Wyomissing Rec.
Yep.
But the people that get those emails have accounts. I guess I'm just trying to think about the people that don't have Facebook and aren't necessarily on, like, have an account through Wyomissing Rec. Like, how are they getting the memo? That's
It's
my
the
question.
calendar, the rec calendar.
The rec calendar, is
And
that
isn't it
on?
on
Google
the
calendar.
website? Yeah, the website.
I mean, I have
has
it.
too.
And I
It
assume.
is, but that's a problem we face with any publication we try to get out. I mean, there's only so much you can do to get information out to the public when you post it on social media, on our website, and on my rack. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
So all three are updated though. It's not like if we have an update, it only goes through Facebook and the other two aren't. That's what I guess what I'm asking is like, are all three updated? Or is it we're only using one platform and the other two aren't being updated?
No, they all get updated.
Well,
digitally.
Yeah,
The
you-
website
yes,
typically
that-
no, because through the end of this year, Melissa's responsible for the website and she's not always getting those notifications to be able to post them to update the website, but Randy's taking over most of the website next year, so Randy, I assume when you update everything else, you're gonna update the website too.
Yes. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so it sounds like most of the time, but maybe there's an occasional time where it wasn't. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for the director's report, unless there's any questions.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And after that, so I guess that brings us to the old business. We have an update on our rec fee. So this came from the council meetings, the special budgetary meetings. So unfortunately, there was a change to the fee schedule that we had approved, or we recommended for council to approve. The biggest change with it was around the pool fees. So I believe we were directed that we had to make, was it 8%?
8%.
We were directed that we had to raise pool rates by 8% going forward. So Randy reworked those numbers, everything rounded down except for one we rounded up.
Everything rounded,
Everything other than the day passes rounded
yes.
down.
Yes.
The day passes rounded.
For instance, a resident individual went from 175 to 189. That's a $14 increase at 8%.
Do you have,
I don't have it as a,
It's not like written anywhere, it's just a.
so it
well,
is,
but don't forget, the fee schedule hasn't been approved. This
the fee
was-
schedule is out for advertisement, so is it on?
No,
No. Yeah,
Resolution.
fee schedule doesn't have to be advertised, it's a resolution.
Thank you so much. The
But
budget is
those
not.
numbers are in the budget that is finalized and out for advertisement.
Okay. But we just don't have them to display at the moment. Do you have them on the sheet we can pass around, Randy?
Yeah, I have this.
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you.
And I can send it out to you.
So
I think
that's,
Chris wanted to see it too.
Oh, yeah, I just for free.
So this basically, it was just the numbers we came up with, and then everything was 8%.
Yeah.
so the numbers we had were
We're gonna
eight,
keep it
basically
the
what we were kind of told through the process was that with everything going up overall, we had made increases to some of our other fees across the board. We had separately made raises to playground rates. So it was felt since those rates were going up, they could be left the same, but with the cost of everything else raising, that the pool fees should also continue to increase as they had not increased for.
Since 17 and 19.
And we did have the conversation about the fact we were trying to work the pool in a more efficient way this year. We do expect to see that trend continue overall, and did see a rather substantial drop in some of the operating expenses, primarily around payroll, when it came to the pool. But that was not enough to prevent the increase from coming down.
And I think Michelle kind of brought up the whole budgeting process. It was probably, and even coming from the private sector, it was a very tough process. It was 4 or 5 different meetings, sub-meetings, and it finally got to the number that the finance committee felt that it was ready to pass on to council.
They started with a $3.5 million deficit and got that down to, I think it was like 724,000. So there were significant cuts across the board, and also increases, like pass along increases across the board as well.
So it was a tough process.
So I'm hopeful we can build on the positive work we had this year around our budget and just the way we are trying to be more mindful in how we allocate our funds. And hopefully we'll see some more of those cost reductions in 25, and we can hopefully prevent more cost increases for some of our programming.
So, sorry, one question about this. What is the cost of a day pass with the pool? Did that change?
Is it on there?
No.
What was it? $10 was a day pass for a resident and $12 for non-resident, so whatever 8% of that is.
It would have went up to, if you rounded up, $11.
Yeah. It was at 8% across the board.
Okay.
All fees went up 8%.
There's also a typo on the second one.
So we had the resident, oh no, that was the increase.
There's
I don't see the day pass on that.
No,
It's like
it's not.
the email that you sent to me. Maybe that's the email.
This was the same email.
So any other questions on the changes? We also did have some budget cuts as well that we had in total. So we're going to try to keep programming as best we can for next year as we did this year. Some of the things we're looking for to fill that gap with some sponsorship, or we might be reducing some of the things we may be able to offer next year by a little bit.
yeah.
Any other questions around the budget or the pool fees?
So was that like the specific events that we run? The budgets were reduced, like for like playground or for?
Playground is basically the same. The cuts I made was what my original ask for programming for activities. I asked for more money, for instance, lighting the greens from 5,000 to 6,000, and I cut those back by around 4 back to 5,000. So we're not losing money or less money than we had this year. It's just not increasing.
Gotcha.
Like our engagement is definitely increased. You know, Spooky Hollow to have 3,000 people there. Last year was 1,500 people. You know, with more people, it costs more money. Unfortunately, there were cuts, so there's not more money than there was this year. There's not less money. It's the same money.
Okay. Thank
If
you.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Wonderful. So on to new business. We have appointment of alternate members.
I sent a note out to Liz. She's the only alternate. That's a 1-year term. Hers expires. And she got back to me today and said that unfortunately she does not have enough time to commit to be a full-time board member, and she'd like to stay on as an alternate.
Wonderful. So we would need a motion to appoint Liz as an alternate member for the rec board. Does anyone have any questions about Liz being an alternate member? Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Wonderful. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Wonderful. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
I
Aye. Any opposed? Wonderful. So we keep Liz around for another year.
Second part is full memberships. Kareem's membership or his term is expiring on 12/31. I reached out to him and he got back and said he'd like to sign up for another term.
awesome.
So we'll need a motion to reappoint Kareem to his rec board position.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And is it, how long is the term? Is it 3?
5 years.
Oh, it's 5.
So he's already been off for 5 years?
No.
He was
I
finding
think
somebody
we all
else's
shorter
term.
We all
that
had-
hadn't expired.
He completed someone else's term.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we came on, 3 of us came on at the same time, and it was like 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. We all had different, like we were completing 3 other people's
Gotcha.
terms, like literally. And they were like, "Who wants the 1 year term?" We're like, "We all know." Like, oh, like they just kind of dished them out.
Just with that, I just feel like he's not been at many of the meetings. Is there any requirement as far as attendance and participation?
Well, I did a question on too, in terms of alternates as well, like
Yeah.
regular and alternates, I thought we wanted still the same requirements to.
Yeah.
The alternate, there's not a number. It says attend as many as you can.
Oh.
It's recommended that you attend as many as you can. I don't remember, I can double check on what a full member,
Like it should be 4.
I don't remember what exactly it says on it. I can check and let you know.
Okay.
But there was, if you remember, there weren't roles and responsibilities to be on the board. I wrote those, sent them out, everybody approved them. I think there's a specific number of meetings you need to attend.
And he did have that health.
Yeah,
He had
his
a
ankle.
serious like injury that he was out for a while with, but
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
But that's a good point, so we really.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
I
do
just, I know we have a lot of seats we need to fill, but I think we should be mindful when we fill them because we look around.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
4 of us. That's all. I was just wondering what the,
With that goes, in June, we approved bringing Adam Berkeley, is that how you say his last name? Adam Berkeley in, and we approved it, and
He had been here for a number of meetings in a row. I feel like
yeah, he came and visited, I met with him, and we approved him to come on as a full member, or a full board member, and he pretty much disappeared after that, and we didn't hear anything from him between Melissa sending out the agendas and all the paperwork, to me reaching out to him. Over the last probably month and a half, we've been trying to get in touch with him to see what his intentions were, make sure he's okay, blah, blah, blah. And this past 2 weeks ago is when we made the decision. We informed the council president of what we've been trying to do. He agreed with everything that we did, the steps we took, and so we've revoked that membership for him. So he's no longer a rec board member.
Gotcha.
That said, there's 2 people who've expressed interest. One is Jess Leinbach.
Is that
She helped at
Yeah.
the
She's
egg
been
hunt.
several events, yeah.
She's helped at several events. She's going to be at Lighting of the Greens. She's been great. So
that's the kind of person you want. Someone that helps first and then is like, yes, I like doing this. Like I feel like that's like your friend Kristen, you're saying like she's interested in helping, or I'm assuming she's a bit.
the board at Married Shelter, you're required to participate on a committee before you're even allowed to join the board. Like you have to like show up before you can.
That's a
Oh,
good.
wow.
That's a good. I like
I don't
that.
really want to like scare people away by doing that. So we can't even.
But
here, but I mean, I
It is
think it's a
important.
good way to show, kind of what their responsibility is. It might
Like
be
the
worth-
first, yeah.
It might be worth considering something
Okay.
like that.
I like that idea. Like first
Like
you need
you
to
can
help
serve on a
at
committee
this many
and
hours, a
then,
rec
yeah.
board. Like you need to like okay, you volunteer at Spooky Hollow, you volunteer at Lighting the Greens,
Yeah.
you show up for this. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Now we'll consider your application to join the board
Yeah.
because we already have people. Like you had them, other people that were helping, right? Adults, volunteers with the 4th of July.
Yeah.
They would already have like
Mhm.
some of those hours or whatever if you wanted to consider it that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea because then you're like, this is what you're signing up for.
The other person who's expressed interest is Pam Woodsell. She's currently the president of the Wahoos, so she has a strong pool connection, which would be great. And she is on the Lighting of the Greens committee, and she's been great working with us. Has I think a son in high school. Does she have a daughter as well, or just a son?
I just know of her son.
So she's expressed interest as well. So we have 2 people. So I'll move forward, talked to Rick about it before this. Those are 2 people we're gonna move forward with having a conversation with. So,
Do we ever like at the events that we hold, like maybe we could have like, hey, like a rec board, like, if you're having a great time, like if you like planning events, like if you're enjoying this community, if you appreciate what this is and you have skills in planning or you're interested in, this type of thing, like here's the contact, here's how you could get involved, like something, like like as like I feel like it should be at all of our signature events, like all of the ones that we have. Because the people that come and attend the events, like I was attending the events for years and I was like, I'm gonna help, this is great, I wanna help with this, like, and it actually took me a while to even figure out how to get involved. Like I didn't know how to get, I tried to get involved and I'm like, I don't know how to get involved. Like it was like kind of convoluted, the process of getting involved. So I feel like if at Lighting of the Greens, there was a place you could put, like, hey, if you're, I don't know, like just an idea, like a QR, if it's a QR code or a little A-frame or maybe it's an A-frame that you just take with you to each event and you just have it.
Can you put that, at least as a starting block, on that new page you described from the rec guide earlier about
Yeah.
the link to social media?
well, there's a page for volunteering. There's not one about, because if you get a full committee, then it's almost like it's not degrading, but it's almost like, oh man, I really want to. Oh, they don't have any space.
Well, I think
Committee thing,
but I think
there's
it's
But we have-
always
but we have-
committees.
there's a page on volunteering in the rec guide.
Yeah, but
Serve on a
serving on a committee sounds
very different.
way cooler than being a volunteer at an event.
You
Yeah.
can put serving a committee on a resume. Like I was on the whatever committee and served in this way. Like
So especially since we're back more
Yeah.
towards the committee mentality, especially over the second half of this year, I think
Yeah.
that's where we are
Yeah.
and we're staying. Do you think maybe you could look at some verbiage tweaks to that for the rec guide,
Yeah,
instead of just
yeah.
volunteering?
But it's
which is-
also with you guys too, of like you've done. You've done a fabulous job of talking to people. Hey, would you like to be on this committee? So I think it's not just thinking it's going to put it in black and white. It's not going to solve it. It'll help,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but-
also talk to your friends.
But Randy, like it took me like multiple years, and my neighbor was Dan. Like, what's the like literally? I
guess
was
you
like,
guys
how do I
didn't-
get
you-
involved?
You
in
guys
this?
didn't get along then.
No, like I didn't know him well, and I like asked him, and I was like, I'm interested in this, and it kind of just like fell flat. Like he just didn't like
Are you talking about Dan or Pete?
Dan.
Because you're kind of neighbors with both of them.
Pete's close, but Dan is literally like I see his house from mine.
Yeah.
So, and I also had another neighbor that served on, I think, council for years. And like I asked, like I didn't know how to get involved. So like I feel like if it happened to me and it happened to Kristen, like there's probably other people that would want and be interested in helping, and they just don't know what the proper procedures are for it.
Well, I have a question.
Jess, I think at that point in time there weren't any openings. I mean, up and through 2021, I don't recall there being openings, but that was when like Eric Esterbrook, oh God, I can see her face, Angela stepped down. Like we had 3 board members kind of step down all at the same time, but before that we didn't have any vacancies.
Well, there you
But
go. That
also-
maybe that's why I fell flat.
But if we're trying to recruit for committees, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
could
I
have
think
gotten
that
involved.
that's-
Like,
okay.
hey, you're interested. Like, how about you help out with this committee?
And to the point of what Kristen said, that's kind of where you want to start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Bringing in the people who are involved and weeding out, saying, okay, now that now that our committees are a little bit more robust, if we have people not on the board on these committees, who on the committees is ready to take another step up if that's the avenue they want to go?
Okay.
Can I ask a question? How do you guys feel about folks coming from outside of Wyomissing who want to help to be on committees? Like, I don't have a problem with it. I think that's fine. Like, I was telling Randy that a woman that I know, like an acquaintance of mine, a work acquaintance came up to me after Sleepy Hollow and was like, that was such an amazing event. I want to be involved. She doesn't live in Wyomissing. I don't know where she lives, but I'm pretty sure she lives in Wyomissing. And I was like, that's great. We would love to have you. So she may come for Lighting of the Greens. I don't know for sure. I don't know her so well, but she said, yeah, I want to come. I want to bring my kids. I want to help. Great. Are you guys?
Sally, she could volunteer, but she can't be on the board. You have to be a resident to be on the board.
No, I mean on a committee.
Yeah, just to be on, like.
I mean, it sounds like from the prior conversation, the board seems to be fine with that. I honestly want to talk to our solicitor about that because we've had subcommittees for other commissions, boards, or committees, but they were always of borough residents.
Okay.
I'm not sure that it matters if they're not formally being appointed as an alternate or as a voting board member, but I still want to make sure that's not a legal issue.
Okay. Okay.
But at the very least, we would love to have her as a volunteer. She wants to come. Good. And then, just to make sure, was there anyone else people had who were interested in becoming members of the rec board that they were aware of at the moment? We have two pretty strong candidates who are involved at the moment.
I know someone who aspires to, but I don't know if she can fit it into her schedule.
We do have an
Maybe I'll reach out
alternate
to
spot.
So we do still have that.
So,
One
the
alternate.
for an alternate spot? Okay, let me reach out to her.
So if she'd be interested, it's a great additional way to see if she wants to start getting involved. Again, it's just that lower commitment of just 1 year as a
Yeah.
term. So again, if that's an avenue,
I'll reach out to her and ask.
Yeah, I think we should have the number of meetings in there. We should have to attend, like, unless there's like extenuating circumstances, like you had a death in your family, like, and, you know, like that kind of stuff, like, but I think that would be a good idea to have for alternates and also for board members.
and so then at this point, since we haven't spoken to those two folks about the official, but we want to try to bring them onto the board, there's nothing we need to do with the motion at the moment.
No.
Just table that.
No, just approve Kareem.
Just to approve Curry. Perfect.
He's the only one that's coming up.
Yeah.
So we'll still have the two vacancies at the moment. So at this point, for the remaining of, no other motions are necessary at the moment, correct? Perfect. Well, that's the end of the list, unless anyone has anything else they need to discuss. Wonderful. Motion to adjourn the meeting? And a motion. All right, we are adjourned.